Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jada Smith.
Good afternoon. I'm Justin Porter.
How you doing? I'm Elijah Royal.
And today, we're going to be talking about underrepresented Americans. So, Elijah, Justin, and I thought it'd be a great idea to put a couple of topics in this cup here and just pull them and talk about a couple things that we thought about together.
All right. I'll go first. So the first topic we pulled was the disabled. There are different types of disabilities, which include cognitive, developmental, intellectual, mental, physical, sensory, or a combination of these. The most common disabilities are autism, dyslexia, deafness, blindness, ADHD, bipolar disorder, depression, or anxiety. Caitlin Bennett is the first player with autism to get a D1 basketball scholarship. This is a perfect example of underrepresented disability groups, especially in sports. It's normal for the disabled to not get equal opportunity and equal representation because people think they aren't able.
That brings me to talk about the Paralympic Games. The Paralympic Games are a very major international multi-sport event involving athletes with a range of disabilities, including the impaired muscle power, impaired passive range of movement, limb deficiency, etc. The Summer and Winter Paralympic Games are the ultimate international competitions for the world-class athletes with a disability. Paralympics are very important because, in addition to being a sports role model, another important role that Paralympic athletes undertake is to use their profile for political activism. The Paralympic Games showcase athletes at the pinnacle of the sport. It is also a reminder that the sport is at this highest level that should be accessible to all people.
That brings to what I was talking about. People with disabilities represent about 12% of the U.S. population, and to be more specific, that is around 40 million people in the United States. This can include hearing, vision, cognition, walking, difficult with self-care, or independent living. These are all things that are not included when these percentages of people who are not institutionalized, for example, not in nursing homes or anything like that, the number jumps from 12%, which is about 40 million, to 18%, which is around 50 million. And lastly, around 24.1 million people have a severe disability. So that's probably the missing of your limb and things like that. So, yeah.
I'm gonna pick the next topic. Women's rights.
So the topic that Jada chose was women's rights. And collectively, we decided to discuss abortion rights movement, which is also known as the United States pro-choice movement. This is a socio-political movement in the United States supporting the view that a woman should have the legal right to an elective abortion, meaning the right to terminate her pregnancy. The pro-life and pro-choice movements primarily come into conflict on the issue of abortion. The pro-life movement argues that even a non-viable, undeveloped human life is sacred and must be protected by the government. Abortion must not be legal, according to this model, nor should it be practiced on an illegal basis. The pro-choice movement argues that in pregnancies before the point of viability, when the fetus can't live outside the womb, the government doesn't have the right to impede a woman's decision to terminate the pregnancy. The pro-life and pro-choice movements overlap to an extent in that they share the goal of reducing the number of abortions. They differ with respect to degree and methodology.
The pro-life movement started in 1973 with the creation of the National Right to Life Committee. Before 1980, the Southern Baptist Convention officially advocated for loosening of abortion restrictions. Here are a couple of states that initiate the regarding of abortion: Colorado, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Texas, etc. In 1973, abortion officially became legal. Sorry. In 1973, abortion officially became legal. Earlier that year, on January 22nd, 1973, the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade invalidated all of these laws and set guidelines for the availability of abortion. Roe established that the right of privacy of a woman obtained an abortion must be considered against important state of interest and regulations.
Some people feel, though, with pro-life that as soon as a kid is in the womb and all that, they should have the chance at life. And some people with pro-choice, some people feel like the woman should have the choice to make her decision. Me personally, I feel like the woman should have a choice, because I feel like, she should be able to make her own decisions. And plus, it's not always the case of, it was consensual sex. So, you have to take that into consideration. On top of that, a lot of times you miss both parents. So the kid is usually either going to be having to have a single parent home, or they might have to go to adoption care. So then, all that stuff ends up playing a role. So I feel like it's an injustice to the child because, it just makes it kind of a lot of politics in the whole situation. That's my whole spiel.
Personally, I believe in pro-life, only because there are so many other choices that you can take as a woman besides an abortion. I mean, yes, all the things that Elijah said were true. However, for example, a lot of people say rape is one of the biggest reasons to have an abortion. Studies have shown that there's less than 5% of people that were raped actually become pregnant from it and have abortions. So, not saying it's not a valid point, but it's not something that should be brought up as one of the main points of discussion if it doesn't really affect the majority of the people who have abortions. Studies has also shown that 55% of women that have abortions are in the African American community.